Welcome to Boomer Bongo Boulevard, Season 2, Episode 40. This is our final episode of Season 2. We'll start off with Season 3 with the new year. I'm Mike, just Mike. Along with me is my brother, Ron, just Ron. And we're just getting you in touch with Boomer culture and letting you know what we're interested in and talking about things that Boomers want to talk about because we're Boomers. We're used to being in charge. We're used to outnumbering people. We still are. And tonight we're going to talk about horror movies. It is night while we're filming this, I guess. And Ron, what do you get to say about horror movies?
The first thing I think about when I think about horror movies, I go all the way back to when I was a kid, and between 1971 and 1975, when my introduction to the horror genre began, and that was with WAPT 16 in Jackson, Mississippi's Horrible Movie.
Who hosted that?
That was hosted by the inimitable Scartitia, which is spelled kind of like Patricia at the end, but Scartitia, who was played by Annette Stutzman.
Local person.
Yeah, Annette Stutzman. And I read a bit about her. I watched some videos from some people at WAPT that did some specials, I think it was a 40th anniversary special in 2014. And they were talking about Horrible Movie and how it still had a following. And they actually got her on the phone and were talking to her. And, she just couldn't believe that people still remembered Horrible Movie. And she was talking about how she used her experience because, she was, helped put the show together and, did all the parts of it. And she parlayed that experience into having a career in TV production. And she moved to California and became like a TV, assistant production manager and stuff like that, and worked in that until she retired. Well, and she thought it was really cool that she get to learn that stuff as a woman, because back then there weren't any women, contrary to the Mary Tyler Moore Show, there weren't any women in TV production.
Well,
the kind of got a lead on that, and I thought it was pretty cool. And that was where I first saw Frankenstein, and The Bride of Frankenstein was on Horrible Movie.
Well, Boomers know that back in the old days when you had channels and there were 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 channels available, almost every local market had somebody who hosted a horror movie show. Usually it was on Saturday night. It seemed, I think, a little sacrilegious to do it on Sunday night. And so every little corner of the country that had a television signal has a memory, if they're of a certain age, or almost everybody does, of somebody hosting these. And there were these shows that you could get easily and cheaply, these old black and white from the 30s, 40s, and 50s horror movies that just terrified me. To this day, they're way more frightening than anything I can watch now if I go and try to stream something that's been done in the last 10 years. I mean, there's some good. There's some frightening horror movies. I'm not sure any of them do any good. I think they all kind of make you a little too scared, frightened of everything. But the ones we used to have, I just wrote down things I remember. Some actors, the old black and white movies with Vincent Price in them, and Boris Karloff, who was the voice of the cartoon Grinch later on. Lon Chaney Jr. Michael Landon even got his start from Bonanza. Got his start in an old black and white. Do you remember that one? Did you ever see the old Michael?
I was a teenage werewolf. Yeah,
you win the prize.
That was his first thing he ever did, I think.
Oh, it was a fairly big hit, and I'm sure he got his face out there in front of a lot, or his hair colored face at least. And of course, he got killed at the end, like at all. Spoiler alert, in case you've never seen it.
All the monsters usually got killed back then, or and they would figure out a way to revive them for the next one if it was a big enough hit.
Oh yeah, so. You could always have some Dr. Frankenstein type character that's going to
Yeah.
revive the
But
werewolf or
because one of
add
my
something to the
favorites, I
werewolf.
was fixing to bring up from some old movies from the 50s and 60s, and my personal Dracula, and a lot of younger people will know who he is because he was a star until he died, just recent, in the last 10 years. And that's Christopher Lee,
Ah,
who
Christopher Lee. Yeah,
famously played Dracula in many, many Dracula movies from the old cheaply made Hammer films from England.
I'm glad you mentioned him because
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name this
He was
afternoon.
awesome. I mean,
I
that's to
came
me
up with
best Dracula ever. You
I
know.
came up with Peter Cushing, who was sort of another person
Oh,
in
he
those
was in a
canon
lot of those films.
films. Right.
Yeah.
He often played. Well, if they couldn't get Christopher Lee, they got Peter Cushing. Was kind of
Well,
how it
Peter
worked out
Cushing
there.
in a lot of those movies was like the guy trying to kill Christopher Lee. He was usually like Van Helsing or something, or he would be. And I saw him play like Dr. Frankenstein in a few movies where they did Frankenstein. And I mean, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were like the heavy hitters for Hammer films, without a
And
doubt.
of course, Boris Karloff was associated with Frankenstein's monster more
Yeah.
than anything else. And I guess Lon Chaney Jr. was the werewolf.
Yeah.
He always played the werewolf, the frightening. That was the werewolf's
Mhm.
the scary. I don't know. The Mummy always freaked me out a little bit. The old Mummy movies that
I
they
watched
that
that
they
not too long ago with Boris Karloff, the old
yeah
original
yeah.
Mummy. Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was a little more complicated story than I thought it would be. You know.
Uh, Although yeah, I don't know why we were so afraid, particularly of the Frankenstein monster and the Mummy. They frightened me more than the werewolf did. The werewolf. Deep down, I always, for one thing, the werewolf, when he wasn't a werewolf, was a pretty good guy. And deep down, I always kind of felt like you you couldn't outrun the werewolf, but you might have a chance to tame him or something, kind of like a puppy.
Yeah.
House train him,
The
feed him
thing that was
something.
bad about Frankenstein to me, the Frankenstein monster, was he was so unpredictable. Like you always remember him, and playing with the little girl, and then like
Yeah,
one thing goes wrong, and you know,
he loses. He was quick tempered. The
yeah, it
Frankenstein's
didn't take
monster
much to
was quick
snap
tempered.
old Frankie, man. You know.
Yeah, another one that really used to come to mind to me when I was a kid is we'd go out fishing down a boat fishing and
Yeah,
I'd start flashing back to the monster from the Black Lagoon. Not a good
yeah,
time to do
yeah.
that because I would imagine what if the monster came floating up out of the water and then I couldn't fish for a while. It's kind of hard to explain to your dad that your brother's sitting in the middle of the boat for a
You're
while until
worried
you
about
calm
the
down.
creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
You're like, where are we again? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You know, I mean, why were we even afraid though, Ron? Just Ron. The Frankenstein monster could barely move. The mummy could barely walk. Even there's no way they were going to catch you, even if they had, if they showed up at the door in the middle of the night in your room, you just kind of back up to one wall, and when the monster
Put
came into
put
the
a
open part,
move
yeah,
on
you
them,
just give them a juke. You're by them, and you're out of there. There wasn't anything to be afraid of. Werewolf shows up, you might be in a little trouble because it's kind of hard to tame a werewolf from prone position under the covers.
Well, when you said something about water, it brought up my most terrifying movie. I don't know if you would throw this into the horror genre. I would personally, but to me, going back and even looking back, it's still a fantastic movie. But this movie it scarred me for life. I mean, the
So
scariest
that's what happened to
damn
you.
movie I ever saw in my life, Jaws.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think it's a horror
I
movie.
saw that in the theater when I was 10 years old. And I tell you, I have never hit my head on the back of a seat so many times from going, oh, bonk, oh, and I
You know,
remember my knees were weak when I was walking out of there. I mean, I was
what
scared to
they
death after I saw that.
what they should have done back in the 50s was they should have made the monster from the Black Lagoon a giant. Then you would have had the equivalent
Yeah.
of Jaws. They just weren't
Yeah.
thinking everything through. And they had King Kong. I mean, the idea was
Yeah.
right there waiting to be born, and yet they didn't do it. Fay Ray showed them the way, and those Hollywood guys, they're not as creative sometimes as they get credit for. If they'd really been creative, they
Yeah,
would have come up.
true.
Wasn't it the pure size of Jaws anyway that freaked you out? You know, the guys riding the boat.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You know, and all of a sudden,
almost
we didn't
30,
need a bigger
25,
boat.
30 feet. I mean, you think about how big that is. My God, and it'll
Yeah.
eat you.
And notice we're talking about monsters. That's the boomers version of a horror movie. Not to me, slasher movies are totally different category
It's a different
altogether.
genre. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Now this is a
Frankenstein's
horror movie,
monster.
and you and I have talked about this one before years ago, and I remember you saying you liked this one, thought it was a well put together movie, and it still is. Fright Night
Fright Night.
was
But
a
it's a
really good
vampire
horror
movie.
movie. Very
Vampire
good
movie.
vampire movie.
Yeah, I like my monster, my bad guy in a horror movie to bring to be the weapon themselves. The Frankenstein
Yeah,
monster, he was the weapon himself. Werewolf,
yeah.
he didn't need any weapons. He didn't bring knives, guns, big kitchen knife things or swords or anything like that. I like my monsters, and us boomers, we like monsters. I think that they are the weapon. They are the frightening
Yes.
thing. They don't have to bring a slasher. You know, all these slasher movies, most of the posters, they have a big knife or a hook or something with blood dripping off of it. Nah, Werewolf brought his own trouble. He didn't have to stop by a store and pick one up or steal one or go over to the butcher block and pull one out or anything. That's very rare in the
Yeah.
horror genre. I mean, they had slasher movies a little in the old days. But what Hitchcock movie? Can't think of the name of it, but you know, the wink in the
Psycho is one of
shower.
the greatest of all
Psycho,
time.
yeah, had a few of them, but I think Dracula's just
I
got
think
more
about
style.
Psycho
Werewolf's got
almost
more
every time
style.
I'm in a shower that's got a curtain.
Yeah, sure.
See now,
Come on.
my shower now, I don't ever think about it because I have one of those booth type showers with a glass door that you can actually see through. So hey, I love that. No freaking out. But the old dark curtain, you just never know.
I still got shower curtains.
You never know, man.
Yeah. Never know what's on the other side of that thing when you open it
Yeah,
up.
you never know. Yeah, I love that clear glass I have now.
And I was trying to remember what I had for the host, who hosted, because there were these old horror movies, but I think it was some dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't pay too much attention to him. But I don't think it's the same one you were talking about. Yeah. But I can remember watching the old Saturday night shows, and the scary dude would introduce them and talk funny. But they were always for comedy relief. I think there was an awareness that little kids were watching it, and when you came away from it, you wanted to break the tension a bit.
Have something a little more friendly.
Calm the kid down, and they didn't make you even more frightened, although the makeup was pretty scary sometimes.
Well, one of the more famous ones now, other than Elvira, is Svengoolie. I don't know if you can see him where you are, but Svengoolie, S-V-E-N.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah,
I've heard of that one. And that's a scary, frightening thing too. But I don't know. Is it good for you to be? I don't know if it's even good for you to get frightened. I don't know if horror movies are even good for you.
It's supposed to be good for you, actually. It's almost like
it is
like cardio in your chair or whatever. Yeah, it is actually supposed to be good for you, from what I've read.
Yeah, so. Well, I don't like them. I didn't like getting scared when I was a little kid. I just couldn't resist them. It was just like a lot of stuff.
My wife doesn't like scary movies. Like I love them.
I know this stuff's not good for me, but
I'm going to watch this week. So
I don't watch them anymore, Ron. I don't watch them anymore. I don't like getting frightened, and I'm now old enough. I'm finally old enough to have the willpower to go. I'm not watching that. I'm not watching that. And what I'll do now is I'll fast forward and maybe watch
your grandkids.
What?
How old are your what's
going to be 10,
your oldest grandkids?
10 and 6. 10 and 6.
Okay. All right. So you're starting to get into that wheelhouse. They're going to want to start watching some stuff, and you'll probably watch them with them. That's when I got back into watching some of them.
Nope, I won't. I promise you. I have sworn them off. I'll send them to your house and they can watch them with you. I don't. I'm. I've seen my last day of leaping into bed from 7 feet away because I didn't want something under the bed to grab my feet. And if I watch an old horror movie now, that's what I'll be doing. And I could do it. I could do it, but I just don't want to do it. So that's as far as that goes. Hey,
Well,
we
I'm
need to
going
talk
to
about
bring
the
up
song
one
of the
thing, and
week.
you're going to like this. You were going to like this. I'm going to bring up one more thing. You're going to like this. I had to bring up my favorite piece of literature that is horror. My all-time favorite, and it's been borrowed from many, many times in movies and in a lot of TV shows, comedies for some reason, to portray guilt usually, but it's my all-time favorite horror, and it's a short story, The Telltale Heart,
The
Edgar
Telltale
Allan
Heart,
Poe.
yeah.
I freaking
That's a
love
good one.
that. From the
Psychology.
first time
Poe's
I
a
read it, I
psychologist.
loved it. I've seen it done on Cheers. I saw a Warner Brothers cartoon of it done seriously, not funny. It was, and the cartoon was creepy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
it
I
was
don't need
like
to
a
see
Warner
that.
Brothers, like from the Bugs Bunny era and everything. Yeah, it was
No, I need
great.
to see cheerful things. I need to see an I Love Lucy rerun, that kind of thing. I try to have positive thoughts from now on. If I'm going to be taken down by surprise, I want it to be a real surprise. I don't want to be worried about it the whole time. Hey, Ron, um, song of the week. Song of the week is from 1973. Tubular Bells. Mike Oldfield was the artist.
Oh
Instrumental.
yeah.
Do you know what that's the theme song from? Theme song
Mm-hmm.
from what?
That is The
What?
Exorcist.
The Exorcist. Very good.
Exorcist.
And if there's anybody watching this who's a little young for having seen The
Scary as
Exorcist
hell
or haven't
movie.
seen The Exorcist, yeah, review the just find that on YouTube and play it. It'll bring back some memories. And if you've never heard it before, it's a really, really, really interestingly written song and worth listening to. And the minute you hear
Yeah.
it, if you never heard it before, you go, oh yeah, that could definitely be a theme song for a horror movie, and it certainly was. And The Exorcist qualifies.
Well, I've got a
Oh,
Halloween
that is
CD
my
that's
number
got all
one.
that kind of stuff on it. It's got that. It's got Halloween movie theme. It's got them all. Psycho. Got all the good ones.
Hey, before we go, we do want to ask people to subscribe. I think I've already done it once, but we're up to what, 85 subscribers, and we jumped
Hey,
up,
what the heck?
broke
Hey, we're
through.
up to
Yeah, let's go for 100.
84. Yeah, 84.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go
Hey, that's
up
what I'm
and
shooting
pop
for
through
now.
100.
I got to 84. I'm like, I want 100 now, man.
Yeah, we definitely want 100.
I'm hungry.
And
I'm
we're
greedy. I
starting a
want
new
100.
season. We're starting a new season, what, in a couple of weeks, I guess, and we're hoping to have a little different setup
Yeah,
as far as
something
our
like that.
videos.
Yeah, yeah,
Might be real interesting. And tell your
yeah.
friends and have them subscribe, and you'll be glad you did. You're doing a good thing if you subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, I want to do
We're
some new
harmless.
things.
So anyway, Boomer Bongo
Yes.
Boulevard is going to be coming your way in a little bit different format soon, and we'll be bigger and better, and hopefully have at least 100 subscribers. Woohoo!
Yeah. It won't be any more than a week or two. We might take a week off. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'll throw some stuff out there if we do. So it'll be cool.